Hi, this is a review of the orderIT trading system activity for September the 9th, 2021. We had 3 trades on that day. 2 were buys, 1 was a short sell. First trade was NEE. And that's Next Era Energy Incorporated. Tripped at 1:55 p.m. at a price of 85.93. It was a short sell. It closed the day at 85.84, down 0.69%, so that's a positive. Not drastically down. Well, a couple of times. It's not a strong downwards movement or a point, but it's still down. And the indicators, OBV pretty much tripped to 155, so tripped around here actually, down around this point, recovered a bit, came down, it was above zero there, so not a strong downward move. Excuse me. $13.55, $13.55. Yeah, it's a downward trend. Okay, yeah, it was down. So MACD tripped around here, kept going down, came up, kept going down. So MACD was moving downwards on a regular basis. DI is actually showing that it was moving downwards on a regular basis for most of the day. Excuse me again. So it's interesting. The Bollinger Band not as drastic as the indicators are showing. It did, have that up and downward movement, but it's somewhat, in general, moving sideways from the beginning to the end of the day. The end of the day it was dropping, but it seemed to be staying stable. So, interesting stock. Next trade is GSM. That's Ferroglow PLC, tripped at 2:50:25 p.m. at a price of 8.87. It was a buy. Close the date 8.86, up 7.13%. Okay, so 250 roughly around here. 889, 891, 894, 890. You see the end of the day, 3:32. So about half an hour here, it was up almost all that time above the tripping price, which is good. And there was points after it tripped. It came up above its tripping point a few times. So there's opportunity there. It's not strong. Again, it's not a continual upward climb after a trip, but it seemed to stay consistently in a positive movement. So check the indicators for that. Yeah, OBV, you can see here in the afternoon is when it came up. MACD was up in the morning and dropped a bit in the mid-afternoon and came up late afternoon and stabilized. DI shows that it was positive for most of the day. It came up in the afternoon where it shot up quite heavily in DI. Downwards a little bit at the end of the day, which is probably why it dropped below its tripping price. Bollinger Band, though, shows once it technically was moving sideways. There had 2 points moving sideways in the morning, early afternoon, and mid to late afternoon it was moving sideways and a little bit upwards. So not a difficult stock to evaluate. Sorry, I'm closing out my stuff that I'm not supposed to be doing, so I'm going to have to reopen it. And get it back in place. Excuse me. Okay, and it needs GSM, which was the 887 one. Just make sure that's the right one I was looking at. Well, it must be because it's the middle one. I'm looking at the middle one. Okay, next trade is SE. Excuse me. That's C Limited. Tripped at 3:05:03 p.m. at a price of 327.63. It was a buy. It closed the day at 322.60, down 6.17%. But as you can see, it actually shot up to 328, up 1.67%. So it recovered above its tripping price. But again, it did drop down below its tripping price, which you can see here. This reason why here. And tripped at 3 o'clock. So it tripped around here. 327. Yeah, it just never really made it above. It basically tripped and stayed active, and then at the end of the day it came down a bit. So let's see what the indicators are showing. OBV and somewhat upwards. MACD you could see from afternoon, early afternoon to mid-afternoon roughly, it was rising and came up and then dropped. That's where this drop where it dropped off at the end of the day. And DI, it was up fairly strongly on DI, but came down negatively and stayed strongly negative. And Bollinger Band showed this steady incline. Like the indicators up here are not showing strongly. There is positive movements, and MACD is showing fairly strongly positive for the early to mid-afternoon period, which is good. And then that drop off here at the end of the day. And DI, same thing, came up, even though it was about half and half, negative and positive, so that one's not too strongly positive. And Bollinger Band is interesting because it's actually showing a good steady incline for a good portion of the day. Beginning of the day was somewhat sideways moving, and in the middle afternoon period time is where it started. Well, early afternoon, mid to middle afternoon, it came up and continued moving up until late afternoon, where it came up a little bit. I'm going to say that's a possible, just because of the fact that, here we have early morning is showing that it actually jumped up above its tripping price by 30-40 cents, which is decent. And the indicators are showing somewhat okay. Not perfect, and again, it is showing end of day that it was moving down. But the indicators themselves were somewhat positive across the board, even though not the whole day positive. They were somewhat positive in general, and Bollinger Band is actually showing that the stock itself, that indicator is showing that it actually was fairly positive. That indicator is showing fairly strongly positive. So I'm going to leave it as a possible, just because I feel more comfortable saying it is. But anyway, that's 2 out of 3 stocks. 67% positive and 100% possible with that last stock. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.